and all of you will have to be present so that we can go ahead with the activity that Arun sir has planned today. So again, I'll keep writing in between, and Subhash, you also take care so that you can tell the students. Yes. So it's exactly 10, and I think Subhash, we can start, and we'll see if sir joins in between. It's okay. Maybe possibly towards the end also when he'll get down from the flight. I think he'll be able to join for 2-3 minutes. Yes.
Yeah. Can I start, ma'am?
Yes, sure, sir. Sure, Subhash.
A very warm welcome to every one of you present here for the 10th chapter of the Gyan series. It's my absolute privilege to welcome Professor Ramkumar Katani, Director, IIM Raipur, will be joining us shortly. Professor Archana Parasar, Chairperson of the Alumni Committee, along with Mr. Arun Trivedi, Business Leader, Software and Gaming at Wipro Limited, who is also the Chief Guest Speaker for the day. A very warm welcome to all of our alumni who are present here as well. Now, I would like to invite Professor Archana Parasar to address the gathering.
Respected sir, Director sir, Professor Ramkumar Kakani, guest speaker of the day, Shri Arun Trivedi ji, who's business leader, software and gaming Wipro. My dear alumni and students, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 10th session of Gyan series, and we've come a long way with the Gyan series. I wish to convey my gratitude to the alumni present here that despite being a weekend, you all were able to spare time for us. Your presence matters a lot, and I expect more and more participation in the coming months. This program is exclusively for you, and that is why I sincerely request that all of you should be able to join and keep interacting, and that's how we have planned to meet you once in a month on this online platform. Thank you, and I sincerely hope to receive more participation in the coming months. We launched our new series edition called Gyan series last year, and this was exclusively for our alumni, where industry stalwarts, they deliver short interactive lectures to the prestigious alumni of IIM Raipur. And the day is fixed, the time is fixed, so it takes place on the last Saturday of every month. We started with our alumni meets last year, so we have had our alumni meets in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi in 2022. I am yet to meet our alumni in Bangalore, in Chennai and Hyderabad, and this year that's why I have planned that without fail I'll be meeting alumni of Hyderabad and Chennai. So we had a first city meet in Bangalore last year, and then we had our homecoming meets. Homecoming event in December this year. We also completed the election process and the BOG elections. Different city chapters were formed, namely Delhi, Mumbai and Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai and home chapter. The purpose of informing you all this is since I hope that some of the new alumni or just graduated ePGP and PGP students, if they are here, you can contact your respective city chapter chairpersons to include you in your in your chapters respectively, or you can even contact our alumni students. I sincerely thank our director, Professor Ramkumar Kakani, for conceptualizing the idea of Gyan series and guiding the team throughout for the planning of the event. Without his consistent support, I think this event would not have reached the consummation today. A special thanks to our guest speaker, Shri Arun Trivedi ji, who agreed to deliver the talk and enrich with his talks. I thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and addressing our alumni today. Over to Subhash.
It is indeed a great privilege for me to introduce the guest for the day, Mr. Arun Trivedi, Business Leader, Software and Gaming at Wipro Limited. Mr. Arun is a partner and a business leader at Wipro, USA, based on the Silicon Valley office, and is responsible for guiding Wipro's experienced team in serving clients in the software, ISVS, and gaming sectors. He holds a degree in chemical engineering, BTech from IIT Kharagpur, and an MBA from XLRI Jamshedpur. With over 21 years of industry experience across India, the UK, and USA, he had the opportunity to work extensively on digital transformation projects, helping clients design new business models, customer and business partner experience, and GTM strategies. Aside from his work, he's very passionate about coaching and mentoring young professionals. He has also authored 3 fiction-oriented books, which are widely available over Amazon and other leading platforms. Let me take this opportunity also to introduce the topic for the Gyan series, which is extremely pertinent to our time. From fixed to fabulous, the growth mindset. With Mr. Arun's expertise in various corporate chains, we could not have a perfect fit for this discussion. Sir, the stage is all yours. I invite you to take over.
Thank you, Subhash. So first of all, thank you, and it's an honor and privilege to be here talking to alumni of IIM Raipur. When I first was approached, I was thinking about, the most beautiful person in the world is Aishwarya Rai, and IIM Raipur is one of the most beautiful places and the campuses in the world. So thank you very much for having me. What I'll do today is we'll talk about the growth mindset. But before that, let me quickly make sure I share my screen so you all can see what we have.
Yes, we can see, sir. Yes. So you are on mute. Arunji, you are on mute. Yes.
Okay.
You had,
Yeah,
yes, you had muted. I think that is the reason we were unable to hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, we were able to see the slides. I mean, the presentation.
Okay. For some reason, it muted me.
Again, it's muted, sir.
Yeah.
So again, it was muted.
Okay. Okay, some issues. Looks like the moment I try to share my screen, it mutes
Yes,
automatically.
it gets muted. Yes.
Okay. So who is the host? Maybe if you can unmute me, is that possible? Because for some reason I can't unmute myself.
Yes, Dhani is here. Dhani Ram, Dhani Bhaiya. Because it is showing unmuted for us. I mean, when we see the participants list. Dhani Bhaiya. IIM रायपुर से कौन है टेक्निकल हमारा असिस्टेंट अभी हाँ धनी भैया इनको थोड़ा म्यूट करिए इनको अनम्यूट करिए ना ये कह रहे हैं कि ये शेयर करते हैं तो म्यूट हो जा रहा है
Okay, now is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Perfect.
Okay, you can hear me and see my screen both?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So thank you again. I'm sorry for the technical glitches. So this is me, Arun Trivedi. I am a partner and a business leader working for Wipro. I'm based in the San Francisco Mountain View office in particular. In my role, I'm responsible for leading our software and gaming sector for the North America market, which includes the US, Mexico, and Canada. So this is a real picture of me. I know that when we come to these sessions, we're all suited, booted, but I just thought that, it's always good to know people in reality, how they look like when they are not dressed in the best possible way, not combed the best possible way, and not in the best possible backgrounds. So this is me trying to match the green and the brown around me. And the brown is extremely important. I know that many of you are alumni of all of you here, and alumni of such a prestigious institutions like IIM Raipur. You guys are all over the world. And as you go to the world, you realize that there's a lot of diversity around the world. Right? We grew up in a different kind of diversity in the Indian context, but when we travel outside the world, white, brown, black, these all become very important. And as I realized in my 16 years in the US, that I'm identified as a brown man, right, as an Indian man, as a brown man, from coming from the Indian subcontinent, and that's something that's very dear and precious to me. So as all of you, visit the world, work out in different parts of the world, you would realize how important this is. And everything that we have done as a country, India has done, basically means that the kind of regard that people have for brown people all over the world, it is actually gone up exponentially from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to now. So that's me, the real me, without any suit and boot, right? So the topic today that we're going to talk about is about the growth mindset. So what we'll do is we'll talk about what growth mindset actually is. We'll carry out a fun exercise, and then we'll keep the session very interactive by talking about experiences, learning from each other. Right? I am a lifelong learner, and that's what this topic is all about. So let me start by telling you a story. So like most stories, this story also starts with once upon a time. Right? That's how all our history books and our storybooks start, right? So once upon a time, not very long ago, there was a man and a woman, a couple, as we call it popularly, and they had 2 daughters. And here is a picture of the 2 girls, right? So the elder one, whenever the man and the woman, they would try to give them homework or try to expose them to different kinds of activities, right? The elder one would always be willing to take on new activities, learn new things, right? And the younger one would sort of try for some time, and then she would stop. All right, there'll be something that would happen, and she would stop. So the couple tried. The younger one seemed interested first in math, so they tried exposing her to different kinds of math concepts. She worked great, but then after a point in time, when things became difficult, she would just give up, and she would say, it's not for me. And then there was a lot of resistance. She would just not do it. And once she gave up, she would not even go back and look at the easier questions. Whereas for the elder one, she would try things, her hand at new things, try to learn new things. And if the activities or tasks given to her or the assignments given to her became difficult, she would keep trying on it. And when the man would say, "Are you done?" she would say, "I am working on it." Now, this is a very magical thing that I am working on it, because what it meant was that she kept on trying. She did not give up. And the younger one, it was always, she would try, it didn't work, or she would not understand the concept, and then she would give up. So the man was really worried, and so was the mom. And they're worried as to, how do we make sure that as parents, we grow up children? And this is the biggest startup that, most people have who are parents. We talk about corporate startup, but this is one of the biggest startups that most of us have. That how do we provide, good set of citizens, children, to the world, right? Which is very demanding, and, the different kinds of learning and skills that are important. So the man started, looking out, researching on how could he make sure that the younger one in particular became more open to new ideas, became more open to learning. And he chanced upon this concept. And he chanced upon this concept of growth mindset, right? So he started exploring more. And then he figured that if he taught growth mindset, in particular to the younger one, she would actually start learning new things and, not give up. But whenever something difficult came up, she would try and keep saying that I am working on it. So what we'll do is in the next 5 minutes or so, I'm give you an exercise. There's a link that I see on my screen. What I'll do is I'll copy paste it in the chat so you can all run through this exercise. We'll take a quick 5 or 6 minutes, not more. There are just 20 odd questions that we have. And let me just paste it in the chat. All right. So everyone has the link. It's in the chat. So I'll request everybody to open this link. There's a list of 20 questions. Please go through this just 20 questions. It should not take more than 5 minutes. We'll set a talk. It's 10:14 a.m., 10:19. I'm here. So I'll give you time till 10:19 to review these questions, and then we'll talk more. But please take the next 5 minutes to answer these 20 odd questions very quick. And be as honest as you can. There's no judging. There's no right or wrong answers. Everything is right. It should be as honest and as truthful as you possibly can.
Yes, so dear participants, I would like all of you to actively take up this questionnaire or the survey and complete it as fast as sir requires. Yes, please do it.
Thank you, Archana ji.
If anybody is finding any problem, you can surely ask us.
Sure, it should be quick and easy. It's a simple link. The
Yes.
next tab you can keep hitting.
And Indranil is writing where it is. He's unable to see. It's in the chat. Arun sir has posted the link so that you can open it. That's correct, Arunji?
Yes, yeah, that's
Yes.
right. This link is in the chat. It's the same link.
Yes.
So we'll take about 2 more minutes.
Yes, sir.
कॉल पे कॉल कर अपना ऑर्डर बुक करें
Okay, we will have about 1 more minute. In case anybody has finished the survey, you can just message in the chat that you are done.
Okay, Mukesh has done. Krishna has also done. Yes.
Okay, so we'll just give about 1 minute more. So I see, yeah, Mukesh and Subhash, you are done. Very good.
Santosh Kumar ji
All
also
right.
done. Banu Tabilash ji,
All right,
Kunal,
excellent.
Nayan. Good, excellent. Amit ji.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so here's what we'll do next. Let's talk about just 4 volunteers, right? Let's just look at maybe the first 4 people who messaged in the chat. If they can talk about what was results. And remember, there's no judging everybody. I'll share my own results in the next slide, right, when I took this survey. But if there are 4 volunteers who could just talk about, what their score has been, that would be great. Can we have the first volunteer?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you are.
In the room.
So Arun, actually, I had read a book from Carol Dweck regarding the mindset. So they basically explained how mindsets can affect performance or people in sports, personal life, and even in business. So I think the same author had crafted this survey. For me, it is like 67% growth mindset with 33% fixed ideas.
Okay. And are there any things in particular that stood out for you?
So
While you were
what
taking
is
the survey?
mentioned is intelligence and talent are dynamic, embrace challenges, appreciate feedback, inspired by others' success. Failure is an opportunity to grow. Effort is brain training. Focus on the process, not on the result, and acknowledge your weakness.
Wonderful. No, thank you for sharing. Can we have maybe 3 more volunteers?
Can I answer that, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So based on the survey, it shows like 80% growth mindset and 20% fixed mindset for the thing that I've taken.
Okay. And any observations from you?
One important observation that I found is that it speaks about the talent, whether it is or maybe intelligence, which is born with you, or something that you can by practice that you can build. There was like one question which specifically mentions about whether you can learn music after you like by practice you can get into that. Many times we have a discussion whether it is naturally that you've got when you're born or something that you got it with practice. So that is something that stood out in the survey question.
Arunji, I would just like to interrupt. Director sir is online. Possibly is very busy today traveling, and he has conveyed his gratitude to you for accepting the invitation. He's here. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for
Thank you,
being Arun. I apologize for interrupting. I got pathetic connectivity. I'm in a car, but I thank each and everyone who's attending the event from the alumni. I also thank you for taking time at odd hour in your place and joining on this segment. So I'll switch off my video. So just to
Okay, sir.
ensure.
No issues, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was great
Thank you.
seeing you.
Thank you. I hope to invite you to my campus.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Arunji, we can continue. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. So we had 2. Maybe we'll have 2 more volunteers. If we
Yes.
could have a third one.
Hi Arun, this is Nayan.
Hi, Nayan.
Yeah, so I got 77% in the growth mindset and 23% in the fixed mindset. The thing that stood out for me was that in the growth mindset, it mentioned that I'm inspired by others' success. So I really feel that it is true for me.
Okay. Excellent. That's very beautiful of you, Nayan, to be inspired by other people's success. Okay. And then one last volunteer. Good.
Hello, Arun. So coming to my results, my result is like 97% is growth mindset and 3% is fixed mindset. And one thing I found it like I'm always in process oriented, and it is the justification which the result had given to me, and it has shown that me focusing on process, not by the result. And when while discussing about the fixed mindset, my intelligence and talent are static, and this is what I found.
Wonderful. All right. So this is good. Did you guys have fun taking the survey? All right. I take that to be a yes. So what I'll do is next I go back to sharing my screen, and here is what my test results were. So personally, when I took the survey, I'm at 82% growth and 18% at fixed mindset. And trust me, if I had taken this test, let's say 10 years ago or 12 years ago, right, before I started learning more about the growth mindset and fixed mindset, I would have been much on the lower side on the growth mindset. And again, like I said, there's nothing right or wrong. It's the way we all are, right? But what is indeed a good thing is to move towards gradually towards growth mindset, right? Now, let me tell you another story. So the team that I have, right, in my current company, and there are a bunch of salespeople that are part of the team. And if you see, most salespeople are governed by numbers. You ask a salesperson, many of you are probably in sales roles, or have or know salespeople, or have done some experience on the sales side, right? You would know that salespeople, they have the numbers right at the tip of their fingers. All right, you ask them, what is your quota? How much did you achieve? What revenue? What new order booking? And they'll tell you all these answers, within seconds. They don't have to look anywhere. They know exactly what their sales quota is. And it turned out that in this particular team of 5 people, the best salesperson who was actually exceeding his numbers was someone who never had his sales targets at the tip of his fingers. He would always have to go back and say, he would have a rough idea. If his number is, let's say, 10.3 million in a given year, and I'm just making up numbers, don't quote me on this. But let's say if his number was 10.3 million, he would say, I think it's roughly about maybe 9 or 10 or something like this. That's what his answer would be. The quarterly breakup, he would never remember his quarterly breakup. And yet his numbers always exceeded the others. And when we asked him to share his secret sauce with the rest of the team members, his thing was, I'm never focused on the outcome. The number to me is an outcome. 10 or 2.5 on a quarterly basis. These are all outcome. Instead, what I focus on is the process of how am I generating leads, how am I generating opportunities, how am I being able to convert the opportunities into orders, how am I able to make sure that I'm delivering value to my clients, and then able to do more repeat business. That's what my focus is. My focus is not on the numbers. And because he was processed so much on the process side rather than on the outcome, he was able to always exceed his goals. So having said that, these are where my numbers are, and I hope you all had a good time answering the survey, and learning something from it. So the question is, why should you really care about it, and why now, right? And here's a picture of this kid who's always, what does it hold for me there, right? Sticking your tongue out. And I'm sure many of us have done this as kids, or if we are parents, where we see our children or, people in our, kids in our neighborhood do it. So the right time is, of course, I think is, many of you are, probably just out of your MBAs, or, pursuing it, or maybe working somewhere. Now, irrespective of where you are in your personal life or professional life, it's a very dynamic world, right? If you see things around us, every day there are things that are changing. Google had thought, they have like everything in the search place, and look where generative AI has come in, and Google is suddenly on the back foot, right? Traditional cars, automakers were very happy. It's a great business to be in, and look, suddenly Tesla has come in and disrupted the marketplace, right? Now, any company which is growing and which are changing dynamically, the only reason why they're able to do it is because the leaders and the people, right, not just the CEO of this company, but the right from the top to the bottom, a lot of people there are of the growth mindset. They are willing to learn, listen, and make changes to what they're doing. It's not that this is what I've been doing and this is what I'll keep doing and things will fall in place. It does not work that way. And especially in today's world, it's an extremely dynamic world, right? You see what is happening in the digital world. You see what AI is doing to us. You see what generative AI is doing. Quantum computing. These are all new things that are coming in. New technology, new ways of working, which are disrupting the way every day, every single hour. So I honestly feel that the right time for us is now, right? And we have to care because we are the directly impacted party. If we do not do it, we'll be out of the market. Our companies, our individuals, or if we are running a company, our companies, all of that would be out of the market in no time. You'd be less competitive and gradually be thrown out. So the right time is now, and given where you are, it's also now. And more important, many of you are probably going to start families, or they already have families. This is the right thing to do for your children, for your kids, because they are going to live in an even more dynamically world, and they will not learn from you if you are not growth mindset, yourself. So I have two daughters. Right, I spent a lot of time with them, thinking about how is it that we could do informal and informal settings, and this is how we learn together. So the timing is right. We have to care about it, and more so, as parents or as managers in a company or whatever levels you are in, it's extremely important for your teams to think about it and get tuned. And there are certain ways by which we do it, right? So if you think about it, here are the couple of things that each of us do. All right. So if something seems hard, we try to take the easy way out. Right. Your boss would tell you, hey, there's a new opportunity. There's a new, let's say a market segment that we want to grow. Can you go and take it? And for some people, the default reaction would be, I'm busy with something. And I've done it myself in the past, right? There'll be a new opportunity, a new client work that would be needed. I would find it a little hard or out of my comfort zone. I would say, I'm busy with something, and I would avoid the challenge. Versus how do we take challenges as an opportunity? And when I started doing it personally, I found new opportunities for me, new career growth for me. In my life, and I started 3 different companies, 3 different startups, and every time it was the same. When we tried to avoid challenges versus when we tried to take challenges as opportunities, we found something new that came up. The second one is about suspicious of feedback. When we give feedback and constructive feedback, right, to somebody. Not criticism, and feedback and criticism are 2 different things. But when we are providing feedback, don't be suspicious of feedback. Doesn't matter who it's coming from. Right. So take any kind of feedback with, think that what is it that you could do, right? Take it as a way to learn, and take it as a constructive feedback. All right. Doesn't matter who it's coming from. There could be the worst enemies. There could be people who are really, dying for your failure. It doesn't matter. Now, one of the people, they said that they're inspired by other people's success. And I think that's an extremely, extremely important thing. Because as humans, we are tuned towards, this person is better than me, or, they are growing faster in their career. They are making more money than me. They are at better levels, titles, and all of that, right? But instead of being jealous in whether or not we admit it, how can we get inspired by their success? What is it that they have done that we could do? I have personally been inspired by people who have been much, much younger than me. And when it was jealous, to be honest, I'll be very honest. When they first started progressing in their career, it was like, oh my God, this guy got promoted. He's 3 years, 4 years younger than me. But when I thought through, what is it that's making them be successful or get promoted? And then you realize there are other things, and then you can get inspired by them rather than being jealous. Right. The other one, and sort of linked to the first one, is we are scared of failures and mistakes. Right? We think that we might get demoted, we might be let go, we might be talked about as failures, both in a professional and personal life. But then, if you think about them as how do we take the learning from them, how do we incorporate those learnings, and how do we grow in our personal and professional lives? All right. And part of the thing that it comes from is staying away from the unfamiliar. So the moment something is unfamiliar, all right, we don't exactly know what is it. We tend to stay away from it. Be it going to a new place, being it watching a movie in a different language, or be it taking a brand new kind of a career opportunity. Right, I have made those mistakes myself, and have learned that instead, and some of those mistakes are a little too late. Right, I realized that if it was easier for me to go and explore, and just make myself feel uncomfortable, that would give me much more opportunities rather than staying away from the unfamiliar. Because keep in mind, if something is very familiar, there are a million people who are already doing it. If there's an idea that already exists, there are a million people who are working on those ideas, on those products, or whatever it is in your span of work. All right. It's only when you start going out of to the uncomfortable is when you start exploring new things, you start building or creating new things. And the world always has a lot of respect for creators rather than people who are in their own familiar zone. So these are some of the things that you would rather want to do rather than not do. And I hope the survey that we took, it addressed some of these aspects of this is how the system actually judged whether you were on the growth mindset or on the fixed mindset. And like I said, there's no wrong or right answer. It's for all of us to learn. The survey hopefully gave you opportunities where you could identify why is it not 100% result, right? And those are opportunities for us to learn. Now, so it's easier said than done. Right? We all know what needs to be done, but how do we help with the growth mindset? All right. And while you will see different kinds of articles, different kinds of journals, if you just Google or talk to ChatGPT or Bard or whatever your preferred mode of large language models would be, you would see multiple articles that would come in. But the one thing that has personally helped me is to focus on the process rather than on the outcome. And I think one of the speakers also outlined that, right? When we talk on the process, we know what the outcome is, but when we focus on only on the outcome, we tend to ignore the process. We try to do things here and there. We try to make ends meet, right? And we may be successful or meet our outcomes or goals, maybe for a couple of times, but longer term, it unnecessarily puts pressure on us. It makes us stress out. Whereas if you focus on the right kind of process, and the process may not be perfect, but you learn with it, correct? You learn what the process would be. You learn how is it that you're not meeting the outcomes, and you focus only on the process. That actually helps help you meet outcomes by themselves, right? So they just happen magically. That's the secret sauce. Outcomes happen magically if your processes are right. So any questions so far on what we have done and what we have spoken so far?
Any questions from the audience?
Good afternoon, sir. Madam, my question is that it is obvious that growth mindset is to focus should be on process, but somewhere it is observed that if result is not at par with what is expected, and we are going on process, then what should we focus on then? That is on all the processes, skill, everything, knowledge, organizing, whatever it may be, what we have learned in the management. Where should we focus there? Only on the process, or we should relook into the things in a better way? Whether the targeted goal is right or not, something like that.
Yes, very good question. Very good question. So I'll say this, and what I've experienced is that sometimes the outcomes are determined by people who may not be in our control. In my line of work, I am governed by new business, new orders as a business leader. I'm also governed by revenue. I'm also governed by profitable growth. Right, and these are set by our CEO office, right, with the strategy group, and over that I have no control. Right, sometimes the numbers are very challenging. Sometimes we feel comfortable that we could meet them. My team and I feel comfortable we could meet them. But then those numbers are not always in our control. All right. But instead, what we do is we focus on the process. That here is how. Let's say if my target is 100 million. Again, I'm making it up here. So what I do is I focus on what are the things that will get me there. All right, which is part of the process. And what are the kind of things that we're doing in order to get there? For example, if my target is to generate 15 different leads, all right. Now the process is here is how we can generate leads. If my outcome is about converting different opportunities, right, or if my outcome is about certain things that have been laid down by the management. If you focus only on the outcomes, you tend to lose sight of the process. You'll make things here and there, right? So trust me, you'll for the first couple of months, maybe first quarter, first year, you will be meeting those targets. You'll be successful. But then if you don't focus on the process, you tend to get lost. All right. Now, what happens is if you focus on the process itself, there is a scientific mechanism. There is a very structured methodology by which you lay things out. You learn on the way. If you're not meeting on the outcomes, you make changes in the process themselves. Then you fine tune the process and then you learn it. Did I answer the question?
Indranil ji, yes.
Okay, and anybody, feel free to ask more questions. Or...
Yes. Yes, I think we can go ahead, Arun ji.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now when we shift from, as we go towards building towards creating a growth-oriented mindset, there are certain things, and 5 things in particular, right, which we have to recognize and address. And this is all internal to you. This is not done with your manager, with your teammates, right? These are all very individualistic things that we have to identify. So all of you, when you took the test, right, there are certain fixed mindset that we all started understanding about ourselves, and this requires some kind of understanding or thinking about yourself, right? Being kind of self-aware to understand where the fixed mindset is. I have been on the fixed mindset that, the certain thing that I cannot learn. For example, I've been so comfortable working in an organizational setup that I never had thought that I could be able to write books, right? So the first idea came to mind about writing books. I thought it was just not meant for me. I cannot do this. I don't have time. I'm extremely busy. I have projects, I have client work, this, that, right? So there's a lot of fixed mindset that I had. And, my wife told me that, I live in California on the West Coast, and I used to fly to Florida, which is on the east part of the country. And my wife said, you're doing all of this. I'm sure you're not working those 7-8 hours in the plane. Why don't you just focus on writing the book? And so started doing this. So if you think about it, the outcome, if you will, was writing the book, right, while still doing my job. That was the outcome. If I was focused intimately on that, I would never have been able to achieve, because I've been stressed out that, I'm not able to find time. But the process was, that as I'm at the airport, I'm at the thing, and in the plane, right, I would start writing maybe the important elements of the chapter, right, or the chapter themselves. And or if I'm done with the chapter, then I would proofread myself to make sure that it's the wording, the flowing, and all of that is correct. So that was on the process part. So there was fixed mindset that I had. I'm unable to write a book. So I acknowledged it, got some help from my wife, and then I was able to personally overcome it. Right. So while I will not go into each one of these in detail unless there is a specific questions, but it's all out in the slide, from identifying fixed mindset, which is very internal to you. Some of these may not even come out in a coaching sessions, or may in performance reviews or appraisals, it may not come out, but these are very individualistic things that come out when you start evaluating yourself. Right. Being able to accept challenges, being able to accept feedback that other people provide you, being able to persist. It's never first time right. Right. There is the first time right is only tip of the iceberg. Right. I mean, classical physics teaches you there's only 1/10 of the ice that is outside, and the balance is all inside, right, which we don't see. So persistence is like that. Right. And then the optimism. If you're optimistic, there are people who sort of give up, and they feel that nothing can be done. Again, that's a fixed mindset, versus being optimistic about the ways of the world, and learning. Right? If you're optimistic, you'll automatically start learning. So these are the 5 things that I strongly encourage anybody who I talk to for the growth mindset to watch out for as they are on their growth path. And trust me, it's nobody can say that I'm 100% growth mindset now, right? I don't have to do anything. Irrespective of your scores that you receive, we all have to have this journey that we all go through.
Good, I think, and good suggestions coming up also, like Gurishal ji writing that Bhagavad Gita also focuses on karma first.
Yes.
And then,
yes.
I mean, the results or the outcomes. So I think, yes, good. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Very interesting. So the other day I went with my brother to his office in Noida, and I saw the Bhagavad Gita there's some verses from the Bhagavad Gita, but it was exactly the same exact thing. And I was thinking in my mind, Chinaji, exactly what you said, that this is so much in line with the topic that we have today. All right. So going back to our audience, let's look at a few volunteers who can provide some answers of where you have used a fixed mindset, and you could have done better if you had a growth mindset, or if you feel that there was some life experience that you had where you had a growth mindset, the growth mindset that helped you to achieve something. Any stories that any of you can share? And like I said, there's no wrong or right experiences. We are here to learn from each other. Anyone wants to share any stories?
Hi, Arun.
Sir,
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir,
go ahead,
can I
please.
share something?
Yes, sure.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So there is a concept called predeterminism, in which people say that we are stuck in our life more or less, and there is very little scope for free will or free choices in our life. So what I feel is the growth mindset should apply, but it should be incremental, because most of our life is we can't decide our family that we are born in, we can't decide change the circumstances at large, but in that incrementally we can implement, say, 5% change, 5% change every year, so that in the next 20 years or our own lifetime, there is innovation on, or life moves forward to the next wave of technology, or while taking into account constructive feedback. There are a few negative people who will criticize you no matter how well you have done, because they have a personal problem with you. But apart from that, if somebody is giving constructive criticism, we can actually take that as feedback and improve our processes in the next iteration of the same task that we do. In that way, I feel incrementally we can change for the better, but there is an element of predeterminism also in the environment that we work in, the systems and processes that are in place. So I feel that radical innovation is not possible, but incrementally we can change for the better, say 2 to 5%, similar to what companies devote for their research and development. They can't move out of transition to the next technology altogether, but incrementally they can move towards that. That is what I feel, sir.
Very well said, Gulshan. Very well said. Sometimes we try for this very massive, large-scale transformational type of initiatives, right? Be it in our corporate lives or be it in our personal lives, right? And sometimes they are very hard, right? So incremental is a great way of going. So very well said.
Hi, Arun.
Any other volunteers? Yeah, go ahead, man.
I asked for experiences where I implemented fixed mindset or growth mindset. So I have two. One was for when I was preparing for CAT examination, I had this fear for quantitative aptitude section. So at that point of time, I got to know that it's better that I focus on the process. And at that time, I divided into 3 sections and then started with arithmetic, and topic by topic I went without fearing, and appeared for CAT, and I was able to clear the exam, that section as well. And the second example is of running. So it was really hard for me to start running. Then I decided that I would just run 1 kilometer every single day. Then I gradually increased it, and then I ended up running a half marathon. So that's how it helped me.
Wonderful stories of personal success, and how we use growth mindset in the personal life, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Any other volunteers? Maybe we can have one more volunteer. Nobody to share any more story?
Yeah, I can share my story because it's not, you can say story is a real thing, because definitely one of the most important aspects of my land, that is that rightly things is accepting new things, accepting challenges, coming out of the comfort zone and learning new skills. So I joined this SMP course, this senior management program, because I did my post graduation long back, almost 20 years back. So it was very difficult for me to concentrate, to learn new things, exchange my colleagues, everybody, and learned professors, teachers. But I and that part of my here the process to you, Mr. Arun, and everybody. So really, it has changed some degree of my life, that accepting new challenges, coming out of the comfort zone in learning process, at least, not in everything, because it's really a difficult journey. It's not so easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very cool. So let me also share, 2 stories from my professional life. So when I started my career, I used to do process consulting work in PwC. So I used to specialize in CRM and order management. So when I went to the US, started working in similar areas for my clients, and one of the partners, who was my mentor as well, and I used to report up to him. Of course, several years senior to me and several levels senior to me. He was my partner in PwC. He asked me to learn Salesforce as a tool. right? Probably many of you would be aware that Salesforce is one of the leading platforms of CRM, customer relationship management, right? That's there in the market today. And I was a bit reluctant because cloud was just catching up, and I was not quite sure. There's a bit of lack of awareness of what cloud technology was and how CRM would fit in. So I actually declined. And the next several years, I actually saw that Salesforce became the company that it is today, right? It grew multifold. People who knew Salesforce as a tool, they rapidly progressed in their careers, right? And I could see people who were relatively junior to me, they were actually making career growth in leaps and bounds, right? And that was I was jealous, right? Because I saw some people who were part of my team and now were senior to me organizationally, correct? So it was very hard for me. But then I realized that I had made a mistake. I did not quite understand it. I did not explore the new way, right? I was stuck in my old mindset of, I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I didn't see the world move. So what happened was, when I took that, of course, as a learning experience. Now, so that is scene one. Scene two, I was given the opportunity to lead the gaming sector for Wipro, right? So I was already doing something. I was doing software and tech, and was given the opportunity, to do gaming. And that's the time my initial intent was, gaming as a company, is very competitive, different kinds of players in the market. My first instinct was to say no. But then I thought, let me take it as a challenge, right? Well, worst case, what will happen? We'll not be able to grow it, right? But let me just focus on the process of growing the segment. So that's what we did. We didn't focus on the outcome. We just focused on the process of growing gaming as a sector. And it took us time to build. We all had to learn along the way because I'm personally not a gamer. It's not that, I know a lot about gaming. But then over the years, we learned a lot about the sector, about how we can grow as a company in the gaming sector. And it's come to a shape where it's in a very respectable position now, right? Thanks to the team that we built. So that's the way it always happens. So thank you everybody for sharing your stories. All right. Now remember I was telling you guys the story of these two girls and the couple of how the younger one was in her own mindset, and the elder one was should always say I'm working on it, and should make every attempt to learn. So in our parlance, the elder one was of the growth mindset and the younger one was of the fixed mindset. And this couple, they kept working on these, especially on the younger one. Now, what happened in our story is that the younger one, she finds love in music. I mean, of course, she was interested in music earlier also, but then the moment something would be hard or tough, she would give up. So what happened 8 years later, this younger one, she was in the school music class, not exactly in the music team, but she was in the music class. She was doing well. She was practicing hard, and the couple were working extensively hard on their child, to have her more of the learning mindset and the growth mindset. 8 years later, the younger one, she tried auditioning for the school music team. And when the band went to pick his daughter after the audition was over, he asked her, how did it go? And she said, I think I did well. But you know what, Daddy? There was a couple of other kids in the class who did, I think they did better than me. So I said, so what do you think? She said, I may not be selected. So I said, what does it mean to you? She said, actually nothing. I'll not be worried if I'm not selected. I mean, I might feel a little bad, but I'm very happy that my school will get a great team because the other kids, they were so much good. And that's the time this man learned that his daughter has actually reached that scale. She was gradually becoming more and more inclined towards the growth mindset. And when they took this test that all of you just took, her score was actually 88 and 12. So she was more on the 88 on the growth mindset versus 12 on the fixed mindset, right? So it's been a learning. It took several years to get there.
I think some problem. I think some problem from Arunji's side. Let's wait for a few minutes. We are just waiting if you can try and connect within time. And no voice also. Yes, sir. Yes, so since last, I think 3 or 4 minutes, we were unable to hear you.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think yes, some internet connectivity or something went down. Yes, no issues.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, Ashnaji. I didn't realize it
No,
till I
it's
got your
okay,
phone
sir.
call.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure where you heard me, but I was talking about this part. So so I know we are just about 2 minutes away. So if you were to look at the top 3 takeaways from our session, right? So here's what I would advise. It's about success. It does not. There's nothing called a natural talent or ability, right? If we practice on things that we like or want to do, which feel is material to us, we could practice. Even Arjuna, as we were talking about Gita earlier, even Arjuna, he did not become an archer overnight. You probably have read about it or heard about it that he used to practice even in the night. So practice is what made Arjuna an Arjuna, right? He was not born an archer. So that's the first one that I would say. The second one is about having a positive attitude towards learning and growth. So the young child who became part of our school team, right? That's like a great story of how she developed gradually a positive attitudes towards learning and towards growth, right? And then the third one is about seeking out feedback, reflecting on your own personal progress, right? Seeking challenges and always focusing on the process and not getting lost in the outcome. And outcomes will happen. Outcomes will happen if you focus on the process. Of course, you have to make sure the process is aligned with the outcome, right? but then don't focus on the outcome, just focus on the process. Things will fall in place. That's the beauty of process. So that was the last slide I had. Any further questions?
Any other question from the participants, or we can just wind up? Okay, yes. Over to you, Subhash.
Yes, ma'am. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Management, Raipur, and the Alumni Committee, we would like to extend our gratitude by offering a vote of thanks. We express our deepest gratitude for your time, expertise, and unwavering dedication to spreading the message of growth mindset and personal development. The introduction you delivered was truly captivating, sir. Your ability to convey the profound meaning behind the phrase, "I'm working on it," through an engaging anecdote left an indelible impression on all of us. Your personal experiences served as a beacon of inspiration, emphasizing the importance of focusing on the process rather than solely fixating on the outcome. Right? In conclusion, we extend our sincerest appreciation and gratitude for your remarkable contribution today to a captivating storytelling technique which embedded us in embracing a growth-oriented approach. We also want to express our gratitude to Professor Ramkumar Kakani, our director, and Professor Archana Parashar, our chairperson, for their unwavering support in making this event possible. Lastly, we are grateful to all our distinguished alumni who graced us with their presence, making this day an unforgettable one. Thank you once again. We're looking forward to meet you all in the next chapter of the Gyan series.
Thank you, Subhash. Once again, thank you very much for giving me this honor and this privilege. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arunji. A big thanks and from my side and Professor Kakani's side, and we hope to meet you in the campus next time. And surely a good takeaway, there's no shortcut to success. Hard work is the only key to success, I think, and we believe and we have seen through these times, and I really believe that all of us will have to follow that. And as your session was quite interactive, and I think it involved a lot of participation, and our alumni did a great job by being attentive today. So thank you all for sparing your time, and thank you, Arunji, once again. Namaskar.
Thank you very much.